I am called Dao Huey, for that is my given name. My title is also Dao Huey, meaning saber heart. It means that I will always carry the blade. My parents gave me this name because I was born embracing a divine saber. I trained with the blade at 1 year old and had some accomplishments at 8. I began to test my Dao at 15 and was able to become a god at 30. Despite that, I was already referred to as the saber god when I was 10. I didn't truly become one, of course, till I was 30. In this world, people have always claimed to be saber god, but in my eyes, they were all just kids playing with their toy sabers. The saber is my weapon as well as my best friend. Most importantly, it is my life. Even though I was more than 300 years old after becoming immortal emperor, but this was not my proudest achievement compared to becoming the saber god. It was my lifelong pursuit. Immortal emperor was only something I obtained after entering the Tao with my saber. The world says that an immortal emperor was the apex of the grand Tao, but in my eyes, the Tao of the saber is limitless. It has its own life, prettier than any beauties in this world. Even though I was also known as the wife of the most beautiful woman in the 9 worlds, I am still not as pretty as the blade in my hand. My life, if I could solve something with one slash, a second one would never need to come out. But I don't know why the inhabitants of this world only remember me as an immortal emperor but not my invincible saber Tao. Perhaps it is because I came from the Thousand Emperors Gate as its second emperor. People recorded my royal achievement but not my unstoppable Tao. I am immortal Emperor Dao Huey, born with the blade. With it in my hands, I have nothing to fear in this world. I would even fight against the venerable immortal emperor How High as long as my blade is by my side. But my blade was taken away by my wife tonight. This is why I'm here chatting with everyone. Oh, I also forgot something important. This immortal emperor, no, this saber god is the second prettiest beauty in the 9 worlds, but the truth is that I still think I'm prettier than my number 1 wife. Haha, I am just kidding. How could a pretty and gifted female immortal emperor like me have a wife? But I do have one bastard instead. Yes, it is that bastard who is always hiding. One day I will deal with him. The moon is quite round tonight. I wonder if that bastard is pretending to be a little girl again, a little swindling girl who says, "Hey, you and I are connected by fate." Chapter 1, 3 Demon Master 1. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. A young shepherd's sheep made noises that echoed across the normally tranquil mountain range. Li Chi crawled on top of the cliff whilst the cold night breeze blew heavily. However, at this moment perspiration drowned his body. At 13 years of age, a little boy like Li Chi was using all of his might to climb the mountain range. This scene in the night sky exuded a macabre sensation for any spectators that were around to witness it. Although the night was quiet, his mind was tormented by a fire of uncertainty. Heralding from a poor family, his parents were both peasants. At the age of 7, he started his life as a shepherd. He took the family name Li. His name was Li Chi because he cried for 7 days and 7 nights after birth. 1. Today, he was performing his daily task. However, during the evening dawn's approach, he noticed that he was missing his leading sheep. Filled with worries, he rushed back to the mountain range to search for it. After what was seemingly comparable to scouring the entire mountain range, he still could not find even a shadow of the sheep. Thinking about the missing sheep and its evil owner, Zhang Dehu, Li Chi feared for the worst in his heart. Suddenly, Li Chi thought of one place. There was only one place that he didn't search: the Heaven Demon Grotto. As he looked toward the Heaven Demon Grotto in front of him, the mountain range in the dark night resembled a fierce beast from the ancient desolate era, with its mouth gaping, hungering for human flesh. Hearing the wolves' howls reverberating from side to side, he couldn't help but shiver in fear. The Heaven Demon Grotto was considered a cursed place in the surrounding area. Legend has it that an evil demon exists there who instantly consumed any trespasser. No one had ever made it out of the cave alive. At this moment, the sounds of Zhang Dehu's whips reverberated in Li Chi's ears. If he truly lost the sheep, then Zhang Dehu would definitely whip his flesh into tatters. Having reached this point, Li Chi grinded his teeth and approached the cave as his body disappeared in the night. Area! The night screeched sadly along with the young boy's scream. Li Chi's horrified voice once again rang. You, what is your intention? Ah! Suddenly the terrible screams came to an end. An unknown amount of time later, at the depths of the Heaven Demon Grotto, the silence was broken with a menacing voice. Good, my immortal dark crow has finally been completed. Only a soul was missing. Today I will coincidentally borrow your soul for a little bit. Pietrush. A moment later, as each flap rung loudly, a strange, dark crow flew away from the Heaven Demon Grotto. Fly, I will use your soul to find all the forbidden burials. Fly across all the land. As long as the 9 worlds exist, I will find you again. From the depths of the heaven demon grotto, the heavy voice once again lingered in the air. From then on, between this heaven and earth, a dark crow flew across the plains. From heavenly cities to the most dangerous edges and secret places, it flew without free will, straight through the 9 worlds for eras without end. As time passed, millions of years had come and gone, a new peerless master rose up as another fell. Slowly, the crow would appear again. It wanted to escape its master, it wanted to find a purpose to its life. From the medicine god to the immortal Emperor Sky, immortal Emperor Sanguine, immortal Emperor Min Ren to immortal Emperor Tunri and immortal Emperor Bing Yu, all the way up until the Black Dragon King. Behind each of these paragons lied the shadow of a crow, one that struggled to find freedom. As these strongest beings came and went, the crow still mysteriously appeared in the river of time. The crow was not willing to have his fate controlled, it wanted to oppose the most frightening character in this world. Billions of years till now, and the changing of era from era. Li Qi, who was floating in the river, was suddenly dragged up by a person. Yay! As he was being dragged out, Li Qi suddenly woke up. His first reaction was jumping up as he was unfamiliar with his own body. He was unstable and almost fell down to the ground again. My body. Looking down and seeing that his body had stayed the same, Li Qi was both ecstatic and scared. Even after the thousands of struggles while fighting against the unending waves and winds, the dark crow, Li Qi, still couldn't contain his emotions after regaining his own body. Taking a deep breath, he lifted his head and saw an old man in front of him. Haha, it is this old man that has saved you from your impending doom. The old man laughed loudly in an inglorious manner, revealing his 3 remaining yellow teeth. This made others to feel that his smile was very lowly. Upstream, Li Qi could still see the dimming structure of the heaven demon grotto. His eyes became increasingly cold, his aura exceeds anything that a 13-year-old child could produce. Li Qi took a deep breath and then stared at the old man. After a while he finally asked, "How should I address you, old man?" "Cleansing incense, ancient sect Sanguyi." The old man answered with his mouth agape, revealing his 3 gold teeth, smiling and spitting everywhere. "Cleansing incense, ancient sect." Li Qi whispered under his breath. This name reminded him of the sealed memories in his head, the time when he was still imprisoned in the body of the dark crow. "Right now, who has the heaven's will?" Li Qi regained his composure and asked the man. "Heaven's will, eh? Right now in this era, no one has been able to carry the heaven's will." The old man was still smiling as he answered. "Where is immortal Emperor Ta Kong?" After hearing his answer, Li Qi's complexion darkened. How long has he been asleep for? Over 100,000 years. Immortal Emperor Ta Kong has been missing for 30,000 years. What about Black Dragon King of the Heaven Protector Palace? Li Qi inquired about the old man once again. No one knows. The Black Dragon King went missing at the same time as well. Sanguyi shook his head. Hearing this, Li Qi crazily changed his expression. He looked back at the heaven demon grotto again and finally knew why he had regained his body. "Let us go." Wearing a sad expression, Li Qi turned around and started to walk away and didn't care whether Sanguyi was following him or not. After experiencing near immortality, he knew exactly what he had to do. The Heaven Protector Palace has the strongest lineage of a peerless master in the current times. That era when the Black Dragon King was still alive, no one could match her across the 9 worlds. For 3 generations she was still respected. Even though he has been missing for 30,000 years, the Heaven Protector Palace was still residing arrogantly in this heaven. At this moment, a young boy around the age of 13 and a lowly old man with 3 gold teeth was standing outside of the Heaven Protector Palace. Standing outside the palace's outer city, Li Qi was burning ceremonial money while whispering. "Little black dragon, you don't have to worry. This life you have helped me by obtaining my body again. One day I will stomp the evil land to get revenge for you." After the burning was complete, Li Qi stared at the Heaven Protector Palace ahead. The scenes were still the same, but the people were no longer there. Everything had become foreign. He reminisced about the old days, Little Black Dragon, and the memory of them building this city from the ground up through their sheer effort. Unfortunately, after 30,000 years, not many still remembered the dark crow hiding behind the curtain. Let us go back to the cleansing incense ancient sect now. At this time, the old man glanced at Li Qi and told his purpose while revealing his 3 shiny golden teeth. "Let us go." Li Qi calmly nodded his head. No matter how illustrious or mysterious this old man may be, his origin could not surprise Li Qi. He had experienced countless difficulties and his soul was trapped inside the dark crow for millions of years. Era after era he walked together shoulder to shoulder with immortal emperors and made friends with alchemy god. What things could still actually surprise him? As they were leaving, an extremely elegant and beautiful girl stepped out of the palace. She resembled an angel from heaven, a goddess out of this world. The moment she stepped out, she inadvertently saw the fire left over by the ceremonial burning as well as some mysterious symbols left behind. After seeing those symbols, her expression greatly changed. Who was having a ceremony here just now? An old servant nearby immediately went around to look for information and came back with results. The city guard said that there was an old man and a young boy around the age of 13 here just now. They were burning the money. Chase and find them immediately. The girl declared her command. Your Highness is supposed to go to God's mountain right now. The old servant hesitantly whimpered. Find them. The goddess yelled softly, her body disappearing across space to find the two. In the end, she was unable to find them and had to return dejectedly to the palace. The symbols rotated in her head. They had disappeared for a long time. Why was it that they appeared again in the outskirt after 10,000s of years? Are they friends or foes? Your Highness, we couldn't find the people who were burning the gold ceremonial items. An old loyal servant reported. Order everyone to keep in mind that if there was any news about the two people, immediately report back to me. The goddess gravely commanded. Hearing this, the servant was extremely surprised. With the current power of the Heaven Protector Palace and the reputation of their goddess, it was rare that she would carry such a serious expression. Then what about the God's mountain? The servant asked. Cancel it. The goddess exclaimed. I have to read the ancient books that the ancestors have left behind. Something strange is happening. She immediately went to the deepest part of the forbidden grounds in the Heaven Protector Palace. The cleansing incense ancient sect resided in the nation of the Heavenly Jewel Kingdom. It used to be of immortal emperor lineage with a long history. In the beginning of the emperor era, immortal Emperor Min Ren imperiously stood at the peak and created a sect and named it Cleansing Incense. Unfortunately, after millions of years it could not withstand the test of time and its unforgiving nature. The sect was no longer of the immortal emperor ranking that could rules the land like in the old age. No matter how hard it tries, it could not rekindle the ancient glory nor stop its unrelentingly slow demise. Elder not good, immortal said he wants us to accept him as the prime disciple. A disciple hurriedly reported to the first elder of the Cleansing Incense ancient sect as he was stepping outside. Kick him off the mountain. Without giving a glance, the first elder proclaimed. Why would you even report such a little thing? A mortal wanting to be the prime disciple of our sect? What a joke! A prime disciple is the same as the sect master's protege, one with the highest chance of becoming the future sect master. Of course, when the sect master wasn't present, then the first elder could still personally take care of these matters. But he was recommended by Sangui. The disciple stuttered. Sangui. Raising his eyebrows, the first elder unhappily said. Was he bribed by liquor? Was that why he is recommending this mortal? Sangui used to belong to the sect, but the sect did not want to recognize this member. Although the name sounded very heroic, this name had caused the sect to lose all dignity. Sangui had three good qualities to him. He was very good at spending money, lying and fooling around in the brothels. That was why they called him Sangui too. He had not cultivated any methods to its end, but he did have a very big background within the sect. Rumor has it that he was the bastard child of the last sect master. That was why, when the last sect master died, he asked for the current one to take care of Sangui. There was also another rumor that Sangui was a bastard, but a bastard from the sect master 2 generations ago. But because the previous sect master owed this person a great favor, he had no choice but to accept this blur and unwillingly take care of Sangui. Before the previous sect master passed away, he also asked the current sect master to take care of Sangui. No matter who his father was, the whole sect and its upper echelon had no love for the old man and the unflattering words regarding Sangui's character or care about the rumors in the world. The entire sect, from elders to the lowest disciples, did not welcome this old man without any cultivation. So what if it was Sangui's recommendation, kick him off? The first elder yelled out of annoyance. His morning and good mood was ruined by this event. Bubadi said he has the Cleansing Incense ancient order from Sangui. Disciple stuttered once again out of fear. The Cleansing Incense ancient order. After hearing these words, the first elder's expression darkened. After a quiet contemplation, he quickly ordered. Gather all of the elders and tell the mortal to wait outside of the grand chamber. The cleansing incense ancient sect has a total of 6 elders. After hearing the 4 words cleansing incense ancient order, the other 5 quickly came to the meeting. The original patriarch of the sect was immortal Emperor Min Ren, who left behind 3 orders. 2 have been recalled to the sect, but the third one had fallen into the hands of Sangui Yi. Outside of the request from the last sect master to take care of Sangui Yi, the second reason why the elders were helpless against Sangui Yi was because he possessed the last order. The order represented immortal Emperor Min Ren. The holder could request anything from the cleansing incense ancient sect. Sitting in the grand chamber of the cleansing incense ancient sect while staring at the elusive statue covered by a golden smoke, Li Qi couldn't help but recall many stories from the past. The statue of immortal Emperor Min Ren stood strong at the tallest point. Although many years had passed, the statue still carried an ancient aura, seemingly capable of piercing the 9 skies. Spectators couldn't help but worship the mere sight. It was as if the emperor was still in front of them. Li Qi didn't know how to describe his feelings as he was staring at this statue. The emperor was dead, but Li Qi was still alive. He forever will be. Although he had obtained his goal and regained his body, all of his old acquaintances have slowly disappeared into the mist of time. Li Qi remembered when the ancient Ming era was coming to an end and the age of the emperors had started. His soul was still trapped in the body of the Dark Crow at that time. This was currently the era when he temporarily regained his sanity from the control of the Heaven Demon Grotto after an eternity of struggles. When he met immortal Emperor Min Ren for the first time, Min Ren was still a little boy who was in love with martial arts and had no knowledge of grand cultivation. The time between now and when he led immortal Min Ren into the cultivation world was already a few million years. Many generations of experts appeared and disappeared between the mysterious ocean of time. Inadvertently looking at the obsidian-colored wooden stick next to the altar below the statue, Li Qi couldn't help but slightly chuckle at the sight. He couldn't believe that the stick still existed after so many years. He made great use of it in the past to discipline that group of energetic children, including the immortal emperor, until they called for their father and mother. At this moment, the 6 elders from the cleansing incense ancient sect were all gathered. Even though they were old, but their blood energy was still as apparent as the rainbow, with bright lights surrounding their bodies. Even though the cleansing incense ancient sect had declined, but it was still of immortal emperor lineage. If the elders accepted the titles from the heavenly god kingdom, then they would all be named heroes. At this moment, the 6 elders' sharp eyes preyed on Li Qi, intending to unravel his secrets. However, Li Qi remained calm while sitting quietly through the uncomfortable atmosphere. Cleansing incense ancient order. Eventually, the first elder gravely inquired. The order was extremely important because it was an object left behind by the founding immortal emperor. Li Qi slowly opened his palm to reveal the ancient order. He was surprised when Sangui took him to the town below the sect's mountain and then ran off to the brothel. Before leaving, he casually threw the order into Li Qi's hand. It was unbelievable that a person like the old man would have the ancient order. In the past, when Li Qi was trapped inside the Dark Crow and when Min Ren carried the Heaven's Will, he gave the 3 ancient orders to Li Qi. Later, Li Qi gave them to different people. After a million years, Li Qi nostalgically stared at the present order. In the past, he did not need them, but today he had no choice but to utilize its power. 6 elders passed around the order while they carefully examined it to confirm that it was indeed authentic. The truth was, the sect had long wanted to recall the order, but they did not have a way of forcing it from Sangui's hand. He knew that the order was equal to another life. Thus, he held on to it with his dear life. Who would have predicted that it would fall into the hands of a mortal without any reputation? Where is Sangui? The first elder asked coldly. He, in reality, harbored no love for Sangui, a person who could only spend money, lie, and play with women. To him, it did not matter if he was the son of the old sect master. He went to the Kui Hong brothel. Li Qi calmly answered. Shadows loomed over the 6 elders' faces. Even though they didn't like him, but the thought of someone from the honorable sect visiting the most famous and popular brothel within a 1,000-mile radius gave them great shame. And it was not like it was his first time visiting it either. Even though they were angry inside and didn't know how to release it, they could only wish that such a notorious player wasn't a part of the sect. What is your demand? A different elder loudly asked. They didn't know the method he employed in order to obtain the order. However, the truth was that the truth and the order in front of them was definitely not a fake. I heard that the prime disciple position for the sect is still unoccupied. Plus, since Sangui recommends my talents so fervently, I have no choice but to desire this position. Li Qi slowly proclaimed. After hearing his answer, the 6 elders started cursing Sangui. That goddamn bastard, what rights did he have to recommend someone to be the prime disciple of the sect? It was an extremely important position, the sect had to carefully select the person, otherwise the spot would have already been occupied. Don't use the prime disciple position as a joke. One elder spoke with cold intent. I know. Li Qiyi calmly and slowly enunciated his words without fear. But the person carrying the order has the right to demand any request. This is the rule established by the immortal Emperor Min Ren. What if you used an underhanded method to obtain this order? The first elder interjected with a threatening statement. This position wasn't something that could be joked about or given without any thoughts. Li Qiyi replied in a cavalierly manner. I understand the elders fear that I might have used demonic ploys to force the order from the hands of San Gui Yi. However, if you guys do not trust me, you can send people to the Kui Hong brothel for confirmation. The elders cried in pain deep within their hearts every time they heard the word Kui Hong brothel, but they had no choice but to send disciples to confirm the truth. A moment later, a disciple did indeed confirm Li Qiyi's words. He tried his best to leave out information regarding San Gui Yi's current joyful and debaucherous disposition with the girls, or the elders would go crazy. Unwilling as they might be, the elders had to follow the rules given by the patriarch. Even if the cleansing incense ancient sect has fallen, their lineage was still of the immortal emperors, thus they will not dishonor the reputation left behind. Bring the truth mirror. The truth mirror shined on Li Qiyi's body. Any mortal wanting to join a sect for cultivation purposes must be judged by the mirror. It tested the physique, life wheel and fate palace. Within the mirror, Li Qiyi's reflection appeared. It was but a hazy, unstable shadow that could go out at any time. Behind his head appeared an elusive blood halo while the top had a radiating light, however both were extremely feeble. Physique is of a mortal, the life wheel is a mortal's life, the fate palace is also a mortal's destiny. The disciple reported the findings of the truth mirror on Li Qiyi's innate talents and physical condition. Every person had a physique, life wheel and fate palace. The physique directly affected the physical strength, life wheel indicated one's longevity, and the fate palace showed one's innate talent for cultivation. However, Li Qiyi with his mortal physique, mortal life wheel and mortal fate palace had silenced the elders. He was the most average of men, the sect could go outside and grab any commoner from the street with the same characteristics. If you want to be the prime disciple of the cleansing incense ancient sect, at the very least you would need a Xianshan physique, not mentioning king physique, saint physique. Your life wheel also has to be around the same. Your abilities are not fit for this position. First elder directly rejected. I am aware. Li Qiyi didn't want to think too much and casually spoke. But I still want to be the prime disciple. You. After hearing those words, the elders were extremely aggravated. This person is not qualified to be a normal disciple, let alone the prime disciple. This is the most unreasonable of requests. I trust that the descendants of the immortal emperor will not relinquish their words or violate the ancestral rule, bringing shame to the sect and the lineage. Li Qiyi played around with the order in his hand and slowly spoke. If this order were to fall into another's hands, the result would be unimaginable. Hearing this, the expressions of the 6 elders froze. The first elder gazed at him and coldly retorted. Even if such a thing happened, anyone who wants to be the prime disciple of our sect has to be tested on all aspects. This ranges from his origin to his background as well as his innate talents. Otherwise, the sect would not allow an unqualified candidate. That is your problem. Li Qiyi stared at the 6 elders and said, if you think a different sect sent me to steal your immortal emperor's heritage, I would not need to become the prime disciple. By the order of virtue, I can just ask for them, no need to bother becoming the prime disciple. You should know this better than me. If I wanted to harm the sect with the power of this order, it would not be a difficult feat. Li Qiyi's words made the elders glance at each other, even though they were a bit ambivalent, but they didn't entirely trust Li Qiyi. He is not exactly without reason. Elder Cao, one of the 6 elders, slowly responded. If the order keeps on wandering around outside, wouldn't that be a hidden danger to us? We cannot refuse anyone with the order, we might as well accept his request. HMPH, this matter cannot be taken lightly. First elder coldly replied. From the past until now, the prime disciple has always been the head disciple under the sect master. Whether we accept or not, we must ask the sect master's opinion regarding this decision, then make a choice later. Another elder mused the statement. Makes sense, in the end the prime disciple would be the direct disciple of the sect master. The remaining elders agreed. Send a letter to sect master. After the 6 elders debated, the first elder immediately commanded. The letter arrived to sect master Su Yonghuang just for a little bit, but the 6 elders immediately received a reply. And the answer was that the sect master allowed for Li Qiyi to become the prime disciple, causing them to be extremely surprised. Truly unbelievable, the sect master was too rash. First elder read the letter 3 times and confirmed that he didn't misread and angrily yelled. Brother Gu, if the sect master agreed, then why are we still debating? In the end, the prime disciple is still the direct disciple of the sect master, and the choice is in the sect master's hand. Elder Cow persuaded with his words. Sect master was being too rash, Another elder shook his head and sighed. Elder Cow forcefully smiled. So be it, we have no other choice. Ultimately, if we could recover the order, then we would have done a great service to the sect. 3 days later, after honoring the ancestors, you will formally become the prime disciple of our sect. The first elder, while very discontent, still managed to grunt out a response. Li Qiyi was still sitting casually without a trace of surprise. He only chuckled out loud. Me becoming the prime disciple should warrant a weapon or two for my personal safety, right? Seeing his comfortable state under heavy pressure, all of the 6 elders were surprised. In the end, the boy was only 13 years old, but his calm demeanor resembled a tyrant that dominated one sphere, having everything under his control. How could a mortal like him have such a courageous spirit? The first elder glanced at Li Qiyi, shook his head and told him. Although we accepted you as the prime disciple, we can only give you a normal weapon. If you desire a formidable treasure or an immortal emperor merit law, you would have to contribute enough merits to the sect. Li Qiyi smirked. His goal was certainly not an immortal emperor merit law or a peerless technique. His true aim was the black wooden stick lying on the pedestal. Averting his gaze to the stick, Li Qiyi continued. Fine, I want that wooden stick. That wooden stick. The 6 elders' bodies staggered in surprise. The stick was only used for gathering the ashes after a ceremonial burning to honor the ancestors. It had always been there and no one had any interest in it. The elders thought Li Qiyi would ask for treasures using his new status, but he simply wanted a wooden stick. This request was outside of their expectation. Li Qiyi said with ease. Since I am the prime disciple, my position is worthy of respect. The stick belongs to the Grand Chamber, and this is the ancestral Grand Chamber of all of the sect. Its symbolism represents the power of the cleansing incense ancient sect, so it is worthy relative to my current position as the prime disciple. After hearing Li Qiyi's continuous logic, the 6 elders looked around themselves with their eyes wide open. They thought to themselves, this idiotic brat and that goddamn playboy Sanguyi definitely belong together. Just like how an ox seeks another ox, a horse would find another horse. 1. So be it, we shall bestow this stick upon you. The first elder was happy to give this worthless stick to Li Qiyi if it meant that he doesn't have to hear his incessant blabbering anymore. To him, this thing was only a regular wooden stick to move the ashes. Might as well give it to Li Qiyi so he didn't have to listen on to his rambling. Many thanks to the honorable elders. Li Qiyi was eagerly waiting for those words. Before his words finished coming out of his mouth, his hands were already holding the stick. This action in the eyes of the 6 elders was seen as being very naive. Huey Ren, take him to his resting quarter. Finally, an elder became impatient and told a nearby disciple to send Li Qiyi away. Today's events had greatly stressed the 6 elders, a wastrel becoming the prime disciple of the cleansing incense ancient sect. Even if the sect had long gone past its glory days, it was not destitute enough to accept a waste of a human being as the prime disciple. Led by the disciple, Li Qiyi approached a solitary single peak. It was not small. On top of it laid a small villa the size of 36,000 square meters. The villa had been abandoned for a long time, surrounded by weeds and wild plants. Although it is far away from everything, it is still a part of the cleansing incense ancient sect. Opening the door, the disciple immediately said, Junior Desai, no, senior disciple, this place will be your home from now on. He only spoke 2 words but quickly realized his mistake. Based on the time Li Qiyi joined the sect, Li Qiyi was his junior disciple. However, because he was the prime disciple, anyone within the 3rd generation, no matter how young or old, would have to call him senior disciple. Li Qiyi glanced at this wily disciple and looked around, then nodded his head. This peak far away from everything is a good place. Plus it is very fitting with its name, Lonely Peak. The disciple smilingly said. He peeked at Li Qiyi a few times, then finally spoke. You will be the master of this peak in the future. The truth was, according to the rules of the sect, the prime disciple has the right to live in a peak closest to the center. The sect owned many peaks and the prime disciple could choose any peak for himself. But most of the main peaks of the sect were occupied. Moreover, all 6 elders were unhappy with Li Qi, thus he was exiled to this faraway place away from any main peaks. The main peaks located near the center contained thicker world essence than the collateral mountains and inferior peaks. This place will be just fine, Li Qi naturally proclaimed. He was not a petty man regarding such trivial matters. I have brought all the daily necessities to senior disciple earlier. This junior disciple thoroughly handled matters with ease and experience. After taking care of all the items needed for daily activities, he politely said, "If you need anything else, just come to the outer area to find me." "What is your name?" Before the disciple departed, Li Qi casually asked. The disciple was surprised by the sudden question. He did not think highly of Li Qi. His talents were lacking to the point that he would not be accepted as a regular disciple here. In the chamber earlier, the actions of Li Qi caused others to feel that he was stupid. But the current Li Qi, who was calm and natural, made this disciple feel perplexed inside and didn't know whether Li Qi was crazy or thought about everything beforehand. "Senior disciple, this junior disciple's name is Nan Hui Ren. I am a caretaker of the outer court." This disciple quickly regained his wit and answered Li Qi. "My name is Li Qi." Li Qi gently nodded. In the last million years, the ones who knew his true origin and name could be counted on the fingers of one's hands. After Nan Hui Ren's departure, Li Qi did not sit idly by. He began to clean up the yard and tidied up the whole mountain. After completing the task to an acceptable standard, the deserted mountain resembled more of a home. Li Qi did everything in a systematic and neat manner, slow but steady. If any accidental bypassers were to witness his cleaning actions, they would not believe that he was only 13 years old. After the tedious labor, the sky slowly darkened. Li Qi felt tired and hungry. He slowly sat down in front of the villa. Taking in a deep breath, he took out the wooden stick that people used to move the ashes that are now placed by his waist and carefully observed it. His memories slowly came back to him, causing him to have a bitter smile. The world believed that if an immortal emperor succeeded in carrying the heaven's will, they will truly become immortal. However, if that was the case, where were immortal Emperor Min Ren, immortal Emperor Tun Rai, and all the peerless cultivators from each era? Where was their end? Li Qi slowly regained his composure. He removed the dust and ash from the stick. The stick eventually revealed its real form. This was a stick spanning 1 meter. After being doused in fire for thousands of years, it still retained its original form without faults. In the eyes of other people, however, this was only a regular wooden stick without any magical elements. Li Qi whispered as he gently wiped the wooden stick. "Serpent punishing stick." With this wooden stick in his hand, his memories caused an inexplicable emotion. That day, when Min Ren was without the heaven's will, Li Qi, as the master of this future immortal emperor, had taught a group of children that would be the loyal support for Min Ren. Since he wanted to groom them well, he specifically took the serpent punishing stick from the demon forest. Those teenagers that would stomp the 9 worlds under their feet were all victims of this stick. After concluding their training, he left the stick there in the cleansing incense ancient sect, and there it has remained until now. Gripping the stick tightly, Li Qi immersed himself even deeper within his memories. Escaping the Heaven Demon Grotto was successful, and he finally regained his body and soul from the control of the Dark Crow. But time was not merciful. Everyone who used to be his friends and families, such as the alchemy god, immortal Emperor Zhu Zai, immortal Emperor Min Ren, even the illustrious Black Dragon King that survived 3 eras, have all left this world. At the beginning of the desolate era, he was only a young shepherd. In order to find a lost sheep, he went into the grotto and became imprisoned by the Heaven Demon Grotto. He was forced to follow the trajectory envisioned by his master in his crow body from era to era. At that moment, Li Qi was very scared. Unable to resist, he flew without rest across the forbidden burials, traveling across the 9 lands, across the 9 worlds, and in the end, he still had no choice but to return to the Heaven Demon Grotto, too. However, because of this, he had experienced the countless dangers and mysteries of the world. He had trodden through lands that even an unbeatable virtuous paragon would stray from. His willpower, basked by hardships throughout the eras, became unshakable. From then on, he was unwilling to become an immortal slave to the Heaven Demon Grotto. He formulated a grand plan in order to cut off all the immortal spirit seals and formations within his soul. In order to escape the Dark Crow for his own freedom and to regain his body, he continuously led all the geniuses on the road of cultivation. The best of these young ones were able to fight on the peerless road under the sky to obtain the heaven's will. But today, when Li Qiyi had returned to his old body and became a human again, all of his friends have soon left him. Taking his last, deep breath to forget his pain, he has once again strengthened his resolve to destroy all obstacles and penetrate the souls of those in the Heaven Demon Grotto. The news of the new Prime Disciple had spread across the sect. The upper echelons were unhappy, but they could not do anything regarding this matter due to the order. A useless person like Li Qiyi was only lucky, that was all. However, the third generation was extremely riled up. The Prime Disciple would have originally came from one of them. He would have to be the one with the highest contributions as well as passing all of the tests given by the elders. Not only that, he would also be blessed with the sect master's teachings while he has exposure to emperor-level techniques. Ultimately, he will most likely become the sect master in the future as well. In the current situation, no one within the second generation of disciples was chosen. This meant that the Prime Disciple seat would definitely be chosen from the third generation disciples. The ones that rebelled the most were the most gifted disciples with the highest aptitudes and origins. They felt cheated by Li Qiyi, thus, the commotion in the sect was chaotic. A mortal with a mortal physique, mortal life wheel, and mortal fate palace has no right to be the Prime Disciple. Few geniuses angrily declared. He is the biggest disgrace to our sect. Who can blame him for obtaining the cleansing incense ancient order? Even the elders have accepted it. Few of the older geniuses lamented, but they could only accept the situation. HMMPH, he is only the Prime Disciple for now. One without talents and strengths cannot compete for the sect master's seat. Who is to say that the Prime Disciple will be the next sect master for certain? Most arrogant and confident disciples coldly spoke. If he doesn't know right from wrong, I wouldn't mind teaching him a little bit. But even when Li Qiyi really didn't have the qualification to compete for the sect master's seat, all the disciples still felt cheated inside when they have to call a young useless person like Li Qiyi as oldest brother. Isn't the last remaining cleansing incense ancient order in the hand of Sangui Yi? How did it fall into the hand of that little brat? Disciple curiously asked. The fact that Sangui Yi possessed the last order was not a big secret. The sect had always wanted to recover it, but Sangui Yi never agreed. This is why everyone was perplexed about Li Qiyi owning it. I heard that this brat has some wit, I just don't know how he fooled the perverted old man. Another disciple coldly replied. I heard that when the elders ordered people to confirm this matter, Sangui Yi was having fun in the brothel. It could very well be that the brat invited him to play as much as he wants in order to trade for the ancient order. Here this disciple scowled and felt nauseous. So he and that perverted old man was the same type. Hearing this story, the other disciples contemptuously exclaimed. Even though rumors had it that Sangui Yi was a child of a certain sect master, but the entire sect did not welcome such a perverted old man that only knew how to spend money and fooling around. Especially the third generation disciples, they did not respect him even a little bit. If it wasn't for the will of the last sect master, then he would have been kicked out of the sect. If Li Qiyi and Sangui Yi was the same type, then they would find Li Qiyi even more distasteful. But 3 days have not passed and Li Qiyi has not greeted the ancestor. The sect received an invitation from the Nine Saint Demon Gate. What? The Nine Saint Demon Gate wants to test Li Qiyi. After receiving the news, the 6 elders were shocked. One of the elders became increasingly paranoid, lamentably. They've heard the news so quickly, he only became the Prime Disciple recently and they already want to test him. Another elder continued. It seems like they want to escape the promise of the past. A trash like Li Qiyi will never pass the test, that is why they want to force and expedite the issue. We no longer have a choice. First elder reluctantly spoke out. Right now the Nine Saint Demon Gate rules an entire country, we cannot compare to them and thus we cannot negotiate anything differently. His words caused everyone to fall into silence. In the beginning of the Emperor era their sect was invincible, their reputation intoxicated the 9 worlds, their strength ruled an ancient kingdom, all sects submitted to their might. No existence in the entire world could have been a threat to the position of the old cleansing incense ancient sect. However, as time passed, old glories were now gone. They no longer have the power to control a regular country, let alone an ancient kingdom. They lost the privilege of granting titles to their followers such as named hero or royal noble. What do we do now? Another elder asked. All of the elders knew that a mortal like Li Qiyi had no chance of passing the examination from the Nine Saint Demon Gate. Cure a dead horse into a living one, no other choice. Another elder answered. If he somehow succeeds, then we would be in-laws with the Nine Saint Demon Gate. If this was the case, then the Heavenly God Sect and the Heavenly Jewel Kingdom would not dare to look down upon us. Towards such an impossible dream, the 6 elders could only forcefully laugh, but no matter what they still had to try. Li Qiyi was waiting in his villa until the ancestor's ceremony, but Nan Hui Ren was approaching. Senior disciple, the elders call for you in the grand chamber. He quickly approached Li Qiyi. Something major happened. Nan Hui Ren was a bit surprised but did not hide anything. He nodded and said, I will not lie to you, honorable brother, the 9 Saint Demon Gate sent us an invitation. He paused for a second and glanced at Li Chi-yi, then continued on. I heard your fiancé wants to test your abilities. 9 Saint Demon Gate. Li Chi-yi suddenly remembered an old memory when he heard this name. Nan Hui Ren thought Li Chi-yi did not know of this sect, so he quickly explained. 9 Saint Demon Gate is one of the biggest sects in the Grand Middle Territory. They rule over Old Ox Country, having the rights to grant titles. Our two sects used to have an amicable and close relationship together. The original patriarch of 9 Saint used to be named 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon. He was the #1 general under our immortal Emperor Min Ren and followed him to sweep through the 9 worlds. When we were ruling over an ancient kingdom, even the 9 Saint Demon Gate had to pay tribute to us. I have heard of the sect. Li Chi-yi smiled gently. Of course he knew about the sect and he had met 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon as well. During the early time of the Emperor's era, because of Min Ren's Dao Path, Li Chi-yi spent so much time and energy in order to entrap this demonic monster named 9 Saint, forcing him to be Min Ren's fate protector. Where did this fiancé come from? Li Chi-yi asked. Nan Hui Ren answered. From the legends, when our patriarch accepted the heaven's will and became the immortal emperor, 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon had a pact with us. If their prime descendant was a female while ours was a male, then we would become in-laws. Pausing for a moment, he sighed dejectedly. At that time they were climbing high. I think that in the past the old chicken had a female disciple. After listening, Li Chi-yi quietly mumbled once again while remembering his past. However, he had forgotten about it after falling into his deep sleep. It was not a matter of great importance. What did you say, great brother? Nan Hui Ren inquired since he didn't hear it. Nothing, so their prime descendant right now is a woman. It is known that between the two of our sects there has not existed any in-law relationships for a long time. In this era, their prime descendant is indeed a woman. He paused for a second to look at Li Chi-yi's expression. I also hear that their descendant, Li Shuangyan, has an innate king physique. Hearing Nan Hui Ren's story, Li Chi-yi had understood everything. The 9 Saint Demon Gate naturally didn't want to marry a descendant with such aptitude and potential to a disciple in a declining sect. That makes things a little more interesting. Li Chi-yi slightly chuckled. Nan Hui Ren shockingly stared at the calm Li Chi-yi. He felt strange that an ordinary boy at the age of 13 was able to face everything like a royal noble who had been through numerous trials. If it was someone else having heard Nan Hui Ren, they would become anxious and frightened, but Li Chi-yi was entirely opposite and carried on his nonchalant attitude. Has Nan Hui Ren informed you of the current situation? The first elder coldly asked once Li Chi-yi entered the ancestral chamber. Truth be told, the 6 elders definitely did not welcome a wastrel like Li Chi-yi, but because of the current situation they hoped that he was not so useless and that he could luckily pass the trial of the 9 Saint Demon Gate. At this moment, the cleansing incense ancient saint truly need a giant monster such as the 9 Saint Demon Gate to be an in-law, even though the chance of success was extremely small, but they still wanted to try. Honorable elder, I understand completely. Li Chi-yi lightly nodded his head. Good, as long as you can pass the tribulation, we will handsomely reward you. The first elder said with a cold voice, as if to mock Li Chi-yi's calm demeanor. Li Chi-yi elegantly smiled and politely said, I am very willing to go to the trial, but I have 3 conditions. Impudence! One of the elders yelled out. You dare to negotiate in front of the elders. Any other disciple would be afraid of facing the elders' wrath, but Li Chi-yi lightly scoffed. Elders, don't be angry. If I were to actually pass the trials, it would be a great contribution to the sect. The hardworking should be rewarded. No, it should be a given that I would have certain conditions given the dangerous task. Then wait until you have passed the trial, then we can discuss them. This elder was extremely unhappy before Li Chi-yi's attitude, so he roared his response. So be it. First elder nodded his head, then continued. Don't you worry, as long as you pass the trial you are free to select any cultivation methods with the exception of Heaven's Will secret laws and immortal emperor merit laws. I don't think the other elders would have any objections. The 6 elders glanced at each other and contemplated the notion. If he indeed passes the trial, then the elder's suggestion is completely reasonable. The other conditions can wait until after the trial. Li Chi finally smiled. However, there is one condition that I must state beforehand so that there will be ample time for preparation. Once I reach the Yun physique level, I require a medicinal paste of the Saint grade. After hearing Li Chi-yi's request, the faces of all 6 elders became sour. They collectively yelled out at the same time. How greedy can you be? Li Chi-yi pretended to not hear their loud yell and continued to slowly enunciate each word. Elders, the marriage between our two sects is a great matter as well as an enormous contribution. An emperor-grade medicinal paste might be precious, but I feel like it is a fair trade. HMMPH, you think a medicinal paste of the Saint grade is so easily obtainable. This elder was unhappy and coldly scowled. The first elder glanced at Li Qiyi and said, "If you are successful, then getting a Saint grade past isn't too outrageous. But right now, we cannot accommodate you because we lack certain integral efficacious medicines for the Saint paste recipe." Looking at the elder's body language, Li Qiyi secretly sighed in disappointment. He was thinking too highly of cleansing incense ancient sect. In the past, its treasure trove was unlimited. It even contained immortal grade paste. Saint paste was trivial in comparison. Fine, I will take one step back. I want the highest grade of king paste. This I can accept, but the condition is that you will still have to be successful. The elders glanced at each other, and finally the first elder conceded. Li Qi smiled at the first elder and said, "Outside of this, before going to the 9 Saint Demon Gate, I have another small request. Not knowing how dangerous it will be, I need to learn some techniques and 1 or 2 defensive weapons." Finally, you are still a bit wily, and taking advantage of this situation for personal gains. Elder Cow angrily spoke. First elder actually sympathized and nodded his head. How about this? In the inner sect there are techniques and weapons. You can pick one thing. What do other elders think? Even though the other elders didn't want to accommodate Li Qiyi, but they still agreed with first elder. They knew the chance of success for Li Qiyi was near zero. Even if they gave him weapon and technique, it wouldn't raise the probability, but more is better than none. At the very least it would raise the chance by a little bit. Elders are way too worried. I wouldn't be so greedy. Li Qiyi naturally knew the thoughts of the elders, and calmly smiled. I heard that we have a technique named invisible dual blades that can be learned in a hurry. I want this technique as well as a pair of blades to accompany it. Would that be acceptable? The elders rolled their eyes from surprise after hearing Li Qiyi. They originally thought that this greedy boy would ask for emperor-level techniques, but he wanted such a normal technique. Invisible dual blades, eh? First elder stroked his beard. Another elder quickly responded. First elder, that is only a martial technique. It is insufficient. In the world of cultivation, even the simplest merit law would outperform any martial arts. That is not a problem. Nanhui Ren, bring the invisible dual blades to his peak and give him the best pair of dual blades. First elder was happy with this simple request. His opinion of Li Qiyi decreased from Li Qiyi's unwise decision. One would think that the sect would want to give all the assistance they could afford to help Li Qiyi, but deep down inside, all the elders knew that no matter what techniques and weapons they give to him, completing the trial would still be impossible. They only aimed to minimize the loss of the sect. Do you have any other requests? Seeing Li Qiyi not being greedy, an elder was satisfied and generously asked. This little one does not need anything else at this moment. Li Qiyi humbly said. Good, go back and prepare. You shall depart in 3 days. After your return, you can complete the ancestral ceremony to ascend to your position. First elder gravely said. Of course, if he could come back alive, that is. The elders had great doubts. The technique and blades were brought to Li Qiyi's peak immediately soon right after he had just returned. He was satisfied with the dual crescent moon blades. The blades' curves occasionally shone with sharpness. However, these were merely of mortal grade and not fit for cultivators. No matter how sharp the edges were, it couldn't compare to magical armaments. After Nanhui Ren left, Li Qiyi slowly read the invisible dual blades technique. Every word and every phrase spoken by him would be replicated in his mind. Back then, when he was still the Dark Crow, even though he had successfully escaped the Heaven Demon Grotto, but his situation was not stabilized. Sometimes he was still affected by the grotto. Whenever he felt like this, he immediately sealed himself and caused his soul to fall into a deep slumber. He had spent many tortuous years in each eras to go into the most dangerous places and had fell in the hands of many masters and had to surpass many tribulations. But because of this, he was able to see many merit laws, even emperor merit laws and immortal methods. Because he was afraid that one day he wouldn't be able to control himself and be summoned back to the Heaven Demon Grotto, so he always removed all of his memories regarding the methods and techniques he had learned, to avoid them falling into the hand of the grotto. However, the medicine god and immortal Emperor Zuzai came up with a mysterious method that allowed Li Qiyi to quickly understand the truths of these sovereign techniques the moment he saw them again. Right now, everything that was pertinent to mastering the invisible dual blades had been recalled. Taking a deep breath and comparing the manual in his head against the written version, he found that the technique was lacking a certain something. This worried him greatly. In reality, it was normal for techniques such as the invisible dual blades to be missing parts. In the end, it was not enough to reach the apex. In the eyes of cultivators, this was only a minor art. After millions of years in the cleansing incense ancient sect, no many people actually learned this technique. Focusing his mind once again, Li Qiyi finally understood the hidden truths behind the technique. He softly smiled. Even though his physique, life wheel, and fate palace were all of mortal grade, his knowledge and willpower were above what all geniuses were capable of. What was even more important was that when he was the Dark Crow, he underwent numerous tortures. There was a time when he was imprisoned for 10,000 years without seeing the sun, so his willpower was extremely fortified. Nothing could ever shake it and no difficulties could ever make him take a step backward. He gently patted the manual. His attempt at mastering the technique had awakened his memory of the past, a secret that no disciple knows in the current era. That year, the young Min Ren used to practice the invisible dual blades technique. Later, when he became an immortal emperor that ruled over the 9 worlds, he reminisced about this technique. He once again cultivated with it, slowly perfecting the normal martial technique. Of course, this normal technique was not comparable to the emperor merit laws that he had created as well, let alone the heavens will secret laws. Min Ren himself did not want his descendants to practice this technique either. Thus, the technique had lied dormant in the library of the sect for millenniums. No one has understood the real illustrious truths behind the technique, molded by an immortal emperor post-ascension. When Li Qi saw Min Ren perfecting the technique, he teased him greatly. Even if this martial technique was cultivated to its apex and capable of slaying royal nobles, no one would want to use it. Normal cultivators can only see the external qualities, thus this martial technique resided in the darkness. Even after being teased by Li Qi, immortal Emperor Min Ren only smiled. It was unexpected that Li Qi actually guessed correctly about the fate of this martial arts. Emptying his mind of unnecessary thoughts, he picked up the dual blades and started to practice. He was extremely strict with himself. He slowly swung each stroke within the manual. Each swing required perfection before moving on. Although he understood the truths behind the technique, his body could not keep up with his orders. He demanded perfection, yet it was hard to reach. But Li Qi was not deterred. He kept on practicing the martial arts. He became more refined after each swing. After one night he had practiced more than 300 times and slowly grasped the profound truth. Slowly, each of his blades became more accurate. He understood that if he wanted to completely decimate the Heaven Demon Grotto, he must increase his efforts by 10-fold, no, hundreds of folds in order to achieve his goal. No one understood the Heaven Demon Grotto better than him in the current era. Within these 3 days, Li Qi still had not left his villa. He imprisoned himself in the inner sanctum to perfect his blades. There were too many uncertainties in life and he must be in top shape in order to combat any disasters. 3 days later, the journey to the 9 Saint Demon Gate had begun. Only Nanhui Ren and a sect protector with the surname of Mo were coming along. The Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect has a total of 6 elders, 12 protectors and 36 sectional leaders. Today, to visit a grand sect such as the 9 Saint Demon Gate with only 3 people, the highest being a mere protector, there were no words to describe it. Only us 3. Before the departure, Li Qi looked at the shameful members and asked. Protector Mo was very frugal with his words. He was also the master of Nanhui Ren. After he heard the question, he only glanced at Li Qi without answering him. Opposite of his master, Nanhui Ren was a playful fellow. He coughed once in shame and opened his mouth. Big brother, all of the elders are in secluded cultivation. They could not make the trip. Li Qi perked his lips and coldly declared. Secluded cultivation? They are only afraid of losing face. In the end, they believe I have no chance of passing the trial. My not passing is a small matter to them, but them being there and losing face would be the big deal, right? Nanhui Ren couldn't say anything back and shamefully smiled. How could a mortal expect to pass the trial of an emperor-level sect? The elders thought the same. That was why they refused to go, since it would only have one result. Don't worry, honorable brother. Nanhui Ren kept up his positive attitude. The 9 Saint Demon Gate has kept its distance from us in recent times. That is why the elders didn't want to go and create unnecessary conflict. HMMPH, it is only the 9 Saint Demon Gate, can't reach the apex. One in that era, even if 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon was still alive, they would still have to bow down to the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect. Protector Mo could only ignore Li Qi's arrogance, not bothering to throw out a response. Nanhui Ren was afraid that Li Qi would say even more outrageous things, so he interrupted. Older brother, this is my master, a protector of the sect. Please take care of me on this trip. Li Qi bowed his head with just the right amount of courtesy and respect, not too forced, yet not too weak. Protector Mo glanced at him once again and said, Let us go now. Protector Mo was one of the older protectors. His cultivation level was above average. However, he does not know how to interact socially with others, thus his position in the sect was quite low relative to the other protectors. Otherwise, he would not be a part of this great expedition. The upper echelons of the sect knew that this trip would become a comedic play and Li Qi was the main character. If the audience was not happy, death might be inevitable, and that is another reason why everyone hid away from the trip. Protector Mo also thought that there would be no positive results coming out of this trip, and that was why his mood has been even more sour than normal. The long trip was filled with silence until they reached the Grand Temple of the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect. The Grand Temple was huge and it could contain 10,000 people. Looking through all of the Grand Middle Territory, it would be difficult to find a comparable temple. Jade-colored temple was extremely ancient. It was built by heavenly stones and crystals. Above were calligraphy carved by immortal Emperor Min Ren. The words exuded a courageous aura deep beyond fathom. Each word and each phrase felt as if it could erase existence itself. From this grand temple one could appreciate the old power of the dying sect. This temple was the starting point for all of the conquests made by the great emperor. Min Ren conducted ceremonies here before conducting his expeditions that would span the whole 9 worlds. Only an immortal emperor sect could possess this temple. Bang! As the entrance was opened, a gateway could be seen standing inside. Colored and tempered by god crystals, the hulk was covered by empty holes and immortal emperor carvings. The empty holes were there to be filled with meteoric crystals. Meteoric crystals are formed by the natural spiritual power of heaven and earth, the very essence of what makes cultivation possible. Its main purpose was to operate gateways in order to traverse far distances. The warping distance was predicated by the quantity and quality of the meteoric crystals. Unfortunately, the current gateway only has a few meteoric crystals inside. Once again, Li Qiyi was saddened by how far the sect had fallen. In the past, this gateway with an abundance of crystals had brought many armies to faraway places in the 9 worlds. They entered the gateway and in the blink of an eye, they warped to a different location. The Grand Middle Territory was huge, spanning billions of miles. There were countless sects spanning across 15 countries. However, there were gigantic monsters like kingdoms and ancient kingdoms that spanned billions of miles by themselves. If one wanted to cross a country by flying, unless he was an enlightened being or a heavenly king, it would take many years. Any named hero or royal noble would be wise enough to not attempt this feat. Plus, the Grand Middle Territory was only one part of the Mortal Emperor world. The Mortal Emperor world was also known as the Emperor Boundary or Emperor Country and consisted of 5 different parts. In the north lies the limitless land, the south has the chained earth, the east forms the 100 cities, the west contains the desolate wasteland, and the middle was the Grand Middle Territory. Bang! Li Qiyi and his companions arrived at the gateway of the 9 Saint Demon Gate. As they stepped out, they felt that the natural spirit essence was denser than any place before. As far as the eyes could see, this was truly a heavenly sect. Location of the 9 Saint Demon Gate spanned for millions of miles. It was filled with mountains and rivers, with majestic waterfalls and heavenly saint trees that could pierce the heavens, and with marble palaces floating and hiding in the clouds as far as the eyes could see. At the deepest part, you could see penetrating auras that shone radiantly across the land. One would believe that the origin of those aura lies a shocking heavenly treasure. This was the picture of a powerful sect. With this atmosphere and location, no wonder it could rule over a country. In comparison, the cleansing incense ancient sect was akin to a destitute old man at the end of his life. I see that it is older brother Mo, long time no see. When the 3 of them left the gateway, there was an older man leading his disciples for the welcoming party. The man was a sectional leader of their sect. His last name was Fu. He was the owner of a cold and stoic face. His eyes contained a powerful gaze and his body radiated a shining aura. His natural disposition was one that could cause fear in weaker souls. Even though he was only a sectional leader, he possessed the strength of a named hero that was evident by the aura exuded from his body. In the cleansing incense ancient sect, only an elder would be eligible for the named hero qualification. Is this your prime disciple? That is correct, Li Qiyi is the prime disciple of my sect. Protector Mo smiled bitterly. The body and talents of Li Qiyi was nothing to be proud of. The trial, it is but a friendly competition. Brother Mo does not have to worry about it. Sectional leader Fu showed a gentle smile. Only a trial can't reach the peak, too. Li Qiyi smiled back at sectional leader Fu and elegantly expressed his feelings. Sectional leader Fu ignored Li Qiyi's sly remark and conversed with Protector Mo instead. Brother Mo, please follow me. In his mind, a named hero arguing with a junior like Li Qiyi would be unbecoming for a man of his status. Protector Mo, on the other hand, glared angrily at Li Qiyi.